Okay, great. And I just put my slides up here and we'll.
Great. So let me just get us started really quick. Thank you, everyone. We're really excited to have you back. You will be officially certified after today's session. We're excited about that. I'll talk a little bit at the end about maybe we can have an opportunity if you'd like to connect and ask more questions one-on-one. One of the things we do is we have a lunch and learn where we hope to create a community of folks who've been certified. I added you, if you're new, I've added you to that email list and sent you out an invite for the next one, which we are very excited to have Leanne, who's in our session today, lead that session.
Yep. Very exciting.
Great, you get to meet her in advance here today. Thank you, Xiao-ping, go ahead.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, and also thank Leanne for doing the lunch and learn. I think we wrote the chapter together, but Leanne will be doing the presentation. I'm very grateful. So let me just get right into what we're going to do today. This is a short agenda. First of all, we'll do a little brief debrief of homework, and I will ask a few of you to share your homework. Actually, I read every homework, and I'm very, very impressed. And if I'm going to grade your homework, I will give A to like everyone. It's like so good. And that's the first point. And then we'll talk about how to put this icEdge profile, a team profile, into use. So we'll have a very short case of student teamwork case to illustrate how we ask a team to do their analysis. Then we'll ask you guys to do your analysis with your classmates here. So we divide you into two groups, and you already have your group profile, and we'll give you enough time this time. We normally give you like 15 minutes, and then people say, not enough. So this time it will be about 30 minutes to really help you to sort of dig into the details of at least one dimension to help you understand how this can be done effectively and eventually help the team to work more effectively together. And then finally, we'll do some wrap up. Okay, so with that, we have three questions here, and you did your homework, so it should be pretty easy to go through. And one is, how did you choose what area of icEdge to explore with your partner, right, with the person that you chose? And how were you as a trainer able to help your client interpret their results? And how did you help your client to develop an action plan for applying their new knowledge and strategies? So these were the questions you responded when you wrote your homework. Because of time constraints, I am not able to ask every one of you to share your homework. So at least I thought I can ask 3 people to share your homework. Each representing sort of a different area of the 4 domains of communication context. So first, let me ask Saha, Raymond, would you share your experience in doing this homework?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to debrief on my homework. So the good thing when I was doing my homework was that the person that I was working with, I was already working with them as part of their performance improvement, that they would like to work on their communication. So that came up easily, and that was easy for me to kind of pick up because they were interested in something like that by themselves as well. So we looked at that because it was all connected to communication skills, but something that they wanted to work more on is the delivery of the message. So we picked the message style. We talked about conflict management, and we talked about because the person that I was working with, my client, if I can say, they're from high context cultures. They're from the culture where they're like power distance is pretty high and there's hierarchy and they use a lot of nonverbal cues because of the language barrier in order to make sure that their message is being across and being understood. So we talked about all of these things and tried to find like a happy medium where you use verbal and where you use your facial expression, but not overdo them so people can misinterpret your message. So we kind of worked on them. I gave them some techniques on how to ask open-ended, respectful question because there were some issues with the manager and they're like, I don't want to ask manager because of the hierarchy and power distance. I don't want to appear as I'm being disrespectful and whatnot. And I kind of coached them that in US it's very different. You can ask questions in a respectful way with a curiosity with a context that you are trying to understand. And if you disagree, it's okay to disagree. Like the management style in the US is very different and it's totally fine. Your manager will understand that if you have questions or concerns about anything. So we try to take very practical approach and giving some tips on a day-to-day basis when they're talking with their colleagues as well as the manager.
I thought one thing that was particularly interesting was that because they don't want to, face like a direct kind of disagreement or conflict, so they try to use their facial expression to convey their sort of disagreement. But the thing was
They
that
get misread.
on the other side, the perception of their facial expression was like very mean and implied.
Yeah, yeah, that's
was
what
like
they were
so
struggling
funny.
with. They're like, I'm just trying to get my message across, but I'm coming off as I'm a rude person or I'm being mean. But what they're trying to probably do is just emphasize what they're trying to say with their facial expression. We were, I think it was good. They were really happy and they were like, these are really good tips for help for them to help on a day-to-day basis. I told them, like, we are from some cultures, it's hard to have a poker face and our emotions come on the faces, but just it's important in corporate America that you just have to practice that, and it comes with time. I told them that you're just on an entry. I think they're in 3 years in the workforce. So it takes a lot of time, experience, and practice to get there. So I just put them on ease that don't just be too hard on yourself. It's just something that there are voice coaches and facial expression coaches for CEOs and whatnot. So it's nothing new for you. So it was good to put them on ease.
Yeah, and I thought it was also interesting because they are not used to this very direct confrontation or communication. So when they try to act direct, they probably overdo it,
They overdo it, and then and it doesn't come
Yeah.
naturally. So one of the other things that
Right.
my client was concerned about is that I want to be my true self. And I try to coach them that just accommodating someone else's communication style does not mean that you're being somebody else. It's just that you're understanding their communication style and you're just trying to accommodate. You are being your true self. It's just that knowing about who you are and who the other person is and just accommodating accordingly.
Very good. Excellent work. Yeah, excellent work. Next, Erin, how about you sharing? I thought that was also very interesting.
The part about my husband?
The homework that you did with a lot of analysis. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's because I've been married to him for a long time. So a lot of analysis has taken place over the years. I focused mostly on time management and specifically scheduling and flexible with schedules.
Yes.
So basically, I think the juicier part of this is early in our relationship is that I was traveling for work and my husband came, at the time he was my fiance, came to visit, and I caught a really bad cold. It was a terrible cold. The next morning we're in San Diego and he scheduled to meet somebody in Los Angeles. And back then it was about an hour and 15-minute drive. And I was so sick, but I had to drive him because it was my company car. But he kept pushing. He's like, we're going to be late. He was getting all flustered. And I go, I am really sick here. And he was like, he was just like not seeing it. You cute that maybe I didn't feel well, or maybe call him, because we did have cell phones back then. Call him to let him know that, hey, we're running late, or we may want to reschedule. So yeah,
Yeah,
it
I thought that
was
was really interesting. Yeah.
yeah. So his focus on, and it still comes up today. He has to be, we have an inside joke for Japanese Americans that
Yeah.
Japanese Americans like to be early, even to funerals, you know, half hour early. And I'm not like that, even though I'm Japanese American too. But he does that. He always likes to be like 15 minutes, 30 minutes early. And I'm like, it's on time if we get there, like right on time.
Maybe he had some military training or something. No.
Well, I mean, he could be, because his father was in the military.
So maybe
But
he's
yeah, that could be. I never thought of it that way, but it could be. I don't see his brothers. He's the middle, so there's a lot to crack open about that too. So many layers. I don't see his brothers being like that. So yeah, but it was this time thing just surfaced. It was just like, oh, no wonder we have a difference about time, and it showed up in our
he
results.
just focused so much on like this linear time, right? Clock time. It's just so important. And that reminds me of an experiment that psychologists did when they had a Confederate who was like lying on the ground, like in pain, and people like walk by. And if the subjects were informed that they have to like arrive in their meeting at a certain time, like they're just so in rush, they just ignore this person completely, So the time thing is just so salient in people's mind, at least in the US culture. Yes. Okay, great. And great coaching as well. I have to realize, you can be flexible. You need to pay more attention to the person you were sick, and that didn't even enter his mind, because his mind is totally on the time side. Okay, great. And next, Heather, I thought your story was quite interesting as well.
Thanks, xiao-ping. Hi, everyone. So I worked with a colleague and friend of mine. We both belong to an intercultural group. She also works in HR, so she's very familiar with inventories, and she's also a certified coach. So we approached the profile from a more of a macro level to start. And we went into the message area first. And then from the message area, we seemed to bounce a lot because she was also looking at it because it's her profession as an inventory itself. So I was asking her, what jumps out for you? How can we explore this? And she does come from a very storytelling culture, so from Turkey. So every example that we looked at, she automatically told a story about it. So then we did a macro level again and say, oh, isn't that interesting that you took the story level approach to that? In the message style, we found, I'm just looking at my notes here as I'm going through, because I did this last week and lots has happened since last week.
Okay, understandable.
Yeah, so she would often, so for the example that I had for the message style, she recognizes others' implicit messages. So she's very sensitive in terms of being in group settings and being in HR. She works with a very diverse group in her organization. But then we talked about, so other areas of the message style, so she communicates very much on feelings. So we both belong to an intercultural group, reading group. And so we were able to draw then from that experience too, using my own observations in terms of how she communicates within that group.
Mm.
And then the flip side of that, so we were looking at that, and then a challenge that she identified. So my process in terms of working with Jada was for her to talk about what jumped out for her, and then I would just ask prompting questions to get more information.
Mm.
She felt that with the message style, sorry, I'm just trying to get my thoughts together. She wanted to be more in tune, so she can click onto the message of people, but she wanted to be more in tune with the feelings. And so we were talking about how in very indirect cultures, we need to pay attention a lot to the nonverbal, but also the verbal to get to understand what those feelings were. And so a strategy that we spoke about in terms of working with that was to even increase the observation, because sometimes with people in indirect cultures, if you ask them questions, like prompting questions, you'll still, because they're so situated within that indirect culture, you're not going to get what you want. It reminds me of an activity that I do in my courses where people don't disclose personal information. And so one example I use is, so, in an interculturally insensitive way, you say, oh, so I noticed that you're not answering my question. Can you help me out? Can you help me understand? I just want to know. And so that type of approach doesn't really get people to speak more. So we were looking at strategies that she could use to do that in a more sensitive way to get at the feelings. And was there something else you wanted me to speak specifically about, xiao-ping?
Nope, I thought this point is very, very good. So for people who are in high context cultures, when you ask them to explain things, it's actually extremely difficult because they're just not used to use words to describe, it's so you need to be more sensitive and observant of what they do.
And that reminds me, when I was teaching in Japan, one of my students said to me, I was doing an exercise and finally it was an adult class. And finally he said to me, Heather, I don't think and speak this way, or I don't have opinions like this in Japanese. So why do you expect me to have them in English?
That's right.
Which I thought was such a great example, right?
Yes. I think that's what Edward Hall experienced as well. That in subtle cultures, you just feel that you are an outsider, even you sort of understand the culture, but when you ask people to explain, they just cannot explain. Okay, great. So next we have some like FA, like frequent asked questions for like, sometimes when you debrief a client, they might say, this in general question, it's very hard because it's all depends, right? Like how do I answer these questions? So that means they are high context dependent. Or like say, I don't agree with my score. You can ask like, why not, to give a specific example. And then you look for how they may be interpreting the meaning in a different way. Situational or cultural factors that could explain and go deeper to unpack level 3 components. It depends on whether I'm at work or at home. I don't know if you ever encountered this. This instrument itself is for work context only. We don't ask, but I did see some of you talking about the different communication style at home versus work, right? We have different communication styles, of course. And also when you deal with people who are you are not so familiar with versus people that you are very close to. It also might be different. So I remember, I don't know who wrote that. That is like at home, you might be very direct with your parents, but at work, you are trying to be more diplomatic, more indirect when there is a conflict. But for our assessment, this one is about work. And another question is like, do the results apply to email or virtual communication? I don't know how you think about this question. The communication style assessments that we did, right? To what extent they also reflect or can be applied to email communication or virtual communication? Anyone?
I think it definitely reflects our general style, but because it's a lean mode of communication, so it's less expressive of our general, but I think it's consistent. It's just a smaller scale in the different dimensions.
So that means because email is mainly just the message itself, right?
Yeah.
No other contextual cues.
Right. We can try to use emojis, but then I think about, okay, this is a professional email, maybe I should not, but with friend, I'll use a smiley face or sad face.
So that's another interesting question. Like in the workplace, is expressing emotion appropriate or not, right? Gracia, yeah.
Yes, and I just wanted to say, yes, not necessarily in relation to emotions, but the fact that we don't necessarily express ourselves the same way in emails or in virtual communication. It's by Zoom, for instance, not necessarily the same way. Also, for instance, I'm taking as example the Italian culture, which from which I'm issued, even though I haven't been living there for the past 30 years. But in Italy, we stick to the Latin say, verba volant scripta manent. So anything that is written stays, and everything that you express verbally flies. Yeah, so it's less dangerous. Yeah. So
yes.
Conflictual or sometimes, even though we tend to avoid conflict really too, we might want to be more direct in specific situations than Asians, for instance. We might want to avoid to put it in writing, because then you will have evidence, especially in a work context, as you don't want to really write anything that might be used against you, for instance.
That's an excellent point, because when you write something in an email, it's always there and it's evidence for a lot of things. So sometimes when I don't know, when I was a department chair or associate dean at that time, on sensitive issues, we do not write emails. We have a phone call, we just talk. But email, that means you will be more formal in a sense, right? Rather than this in-person communication. Okay, very good point. Yeah. Saha?
Yeah, I just want to add to what Grazia was saying, and then a couple things about the emojis that we were talking about. I think writing in good things is good. Like, if I'm congratulating someone or sharing an exciting idea, I just go in and write an email. But sometimes I receive emails or I chat with someone and I'm so mad. What I do is I write an email, but I don't send it. And I just leave it over there and I just let it sit. And so it comes out of my mind and it comes out of my heart and whatever. I'm still not burning any bridge or saying anything wrong. And then I look at the email again and I kind of read it, and then I could read in between the lines, okay, what was actually making me angry at that time. So that's one trick, like for writing the email can be very, very dangerous, especially when you're just upset about something. And so you just want to avoid that. From
Yes.
an emojis perspective, I feel like it's really depend on the company culture. Like I worked for a biotech before working for a nonprofit, and the communication style was extremely different. Like people would do GIFs and this and that, and they were like really chill about it, and they were cool. And it's okay if you're if you're being a little sarcastic with your manager, it was fine. But it's very different in nonprofit where I'm working right now. Is that everything is a little more formal. People don't use emojis a lot, and then I also teach intercultural communications. So
Yes.
emojis mean so many different things in different cultures. I did not know that until I read that article, and then I started to pay attention. Like smiling is a smiley in probably for me, I'm smiling, but I think in some of the Asian cultures, other Asian cultures,
Yeah.
smiley can be seen as sarcastic, or you don't want to engage in the conversation, so you just send a smiley. So you have to be very, very careful with emojis as well, is like because they can mean so many different things in different cultures.
Excellent point. Yeah, especially when you're mad about an email, do not reply immediately. Don't. Just tell yourself, calm down, and you revisit it later. Thank you. Yeah, Erin.
I do the same thing. I'll type out the email and then I'll just sleep on it. And then the next day we usually will say, is this really true representation of how I want to be perceived? Because you're right, emails last forever.
Yeah.
I did the same experiment with emojis. I run a leadership program for Asian American, usually early career folks. And I do the same thing. I do I do feelings, what is it called? When you act it out, charades. So I just raise the word and I have them act it out to each other and silently. And usually they can't guess because we all have different ways of showing physical emotion. But so I thought that was hilarious because, and I did the same thing with emojis. I was like, what does this mean? And everybody had a different definition of the emoji. Yeah. When it comes to, I'm wondering how this would apply to different generations, because I'm hearing from the younger generation that email's better, text is better, but they just can't pick up the phone and call people, or they don't want to go talk to somebody face to face. So I'm wondering if any of this shows up in the results.
Yeah, so actually one of the studies in HR, CHO at Johnson & Johnson, he was curious, about the younger generation, what communication medium is preferred. And he thought, of course, electronically and all that. And he did a survey in the company and he found, no, that was not the case. Actually, their preferred communication medium is person to person.
Okay.
Yes, they like the managers actually take out time to meet with them and talk to them rather than just like email them or text them. So I thought, wow, that's enlightening, Yeah. Great, Michelle? Yes.
I was just going to add, I'll follow up on the last comment since I used to teach customer service with a Gen Z audience, and they had an exercise to evaluate the customer service rep that they were dealing with. So they would have to choose a product that they had actually bought, and make some kind of complaint politely, see how they respond. And if the customer service person is following those best practices, they could either pick up the phone and make a phone call or use the chat bot. 100% of them did not make a phone call, even though there was a little bit more writing, required. So there is something there generationally. I was going to say for myself, when I'm writing an email, you don't have your normal expression. So let's say a colleague owes you a project and you see them at the end of the hall. You got that for me? It's Friday, right? And then, just there's a smile and it's, but when you type the email, I find myself almost sending it and then realizing, oh, backspace. Hi, Tony. I hope this email finds you well and enjoying your vacation time with your family. When you get a chance, and I have to remember to put that in there because sometimes I'll just, even with our homework, please find my homework attached. And I'm like, oh, this was a really nice assignment and I enjoyed doing it. And I forced myself to put it in there because the smile and the attitude and the rest of it isn't present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. So you are so nice. Yeah. Actually, that I do the same thing. I was like, hey, you need to get this review to me. Then I thought, oh, that sounds really harsh, Let me put something. I hope you enjoy your nice weekend and sunshine. And by the way, that is due.
But-
Very good. Provide some kind of context there, right? Yeah, yeah. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so next we are going to talk about putting the icEdge profile to analyze a case.
Xiao-ping, I just have a
yes.
question, a comment
Heather,
about
yes.
the slide before the email around the work versus at home.
Yes,
I think
yes.
it's a good idea to define work. So, for example, when I do inventories with my students, or I did in the classroom, a number of them had not had any work experience. So I include volunteer activities or teamwork experiences that they've had in their classrooms, just so that they understand that the work environment can be very broadly seen. And for myself right now, because I'm retired, I don't. So, but I do take courses, and I am in team situations or in situations where I'm interacting with others that are outside of the home. So I try and broaden that definition.
That's an excellent point. So for some like undergrad students, they probably didn't have real work experience, but they do have the experience of working in a group, right? To have project done. Okay, very good, very good. Thank you. Okay, next, so we'll talk about this team profile and a teamwork situation when we see each other's communication style, right? And then we can compare one-on-one. And what we do is do 3 level of analysis. It's similar to the dyadic situation, but just that you have more people and you guys need to work together. So the first one is identify where there is similarity and where there may be stress points among the 4 components: message context, relationship, time, and space. And the second level, level 2, is to come up with discuss strategies. So how can the group leverage their similarities and stress points in the most effective manner? The group as a whole need to discuss this. And the level 3 analysis is to identify the strengths and weaknesses and how to manage that so the group and the individual members can work more effectively in the team situation. So for the 3 level analysis, the first one, so I took an example from my MBA student teams. And this is a team that had 5 members, and they were originally from very different cultures. So it's a very culturally diverse team. And this is their team profile. Okay. So their task, the first one, is to focus on similarities and find stress points. And if you look at this team profile, you can see this team is so different. I mean, in terms of communication style, like the message style is quite different, the sensory style is quite different, and time management style is very different. The only one that has more similarity is this relationship style, right? So the team, they did their own analysis. So this is the team's analysis. They identified that their similarity is here on the relationship style, and they have a description here. And then the stress points is on all these 3 domains of context, communication context, They're all quite different. So this is their description in terms of time management style. We have a group that is mostly spread out over a small range, leaning toward low context, with two that are higher context here. Okay, now in terms of message style, 3 of the members are here, and then 2 members are there. And then sensory style is also like along this range. So this is the first level analysis. Then you need to choose a specific domain to do a deeper analysis. So for this team, because 3 of them are like quite different. So here I just picked the one that they focused on called message style. So the level 2 strategy, how can the group most effectively leverage their similarities and stress points? So in terms of message style, by now you guys should be very familiar with that. Is the first component is interpretation, right? Second, expression, and third, conflict management. So as you can see, in terms of message style, interpretation, mostly they are on the high context direction. But this big bubble, I think the 2 members plus 1, they are less high context than the other 2. Okay, yeah, some variance there. And in terms of expression, as you can see, the big bubble and 1 person, like 3 people are in the middle. That means when they express, when they communicate, they use like middle range of facial expression, body language. But this person is on the low side, pretty neutral, and this person is on the high side. So as a team, actually, when you work together, for them, they identify each person's position, where you are. So for example, this person is more neutral. Who is that person? So you know, in your team, this person, although not very expressive, this person also experiences emotion, just like, you know, not really showing it. So you understand that. And this person is most expressive. Okay, and these are in the middle. And then on the third component, this is about conflict management, whether you are willing to be like facing the conflict and you're not afraid of conflict, you want to deal with the conflict. That is this person. And majority of people are on the conflict like avoidance, you know, yeah, you know, harmony is more important and that. So they did this analysis themselves, like in terms of interpretation, this is how they, as I just explained, and expression and conflict management. So here, conflict management, while 1 group member is an outlier with low context dependence, meaning they do not avoid the disagreement and they are assertive. We believe their directness will help guide the group and prevent the group from falling into traps of vagueness and wasted time. See, this is how they see the difference. The difference can be leveraged because most people are avoiding conflict, but this person is not afraid of conflict. So we can actually ask this person to be the person to like review issues. You know, I feel uncomfortable about this, and how about like we discuss it? And while these people just like, no, I'm not going to mention this. So that's how they come up with this idea. And then so dig deeper on the conflict management component, you see there are 2 items, right? One is confronting conflict, and the other one is avoiding expressing disagreement. So this person is pretty low on both, and other people have actually some kind of difference on the 2 items. Okay, so this is the level 3 analysis that they did themselves. There is 1 outlier in each section, avoiding the confrontation of conflict and avoiding the expression of disagreement. To work together here, we can create rules and boundaries around constructive criticism and disagreement. Disagreement will be necessary to capture varying opinions and ideas and find the best outcome. Perhaps rules and or a system that everyone considers polite will work well, such as brainstorming session followed by a vote or a time limit put on constructive conversation so everything keeps moving forward. That is their team's decision and a strategy in deal with this particular component regarding conflict management. So any questions so far? Did I explain clearly like level 1, level 2, and level 3, and how you view, the differences and how you can actually leverage that or leverage the similarities? Clear? Okay, cool, great. So if this is clear, we are going to do our exercise in class. So Jeff formed 2 groups. Okay, and group 1 is we have, I think she's not here, but Glacia is here, and Heather is here, Linda, Leanne is here. Yeah, she's not here. So for those of you who are in the same team, so we have like maybe 5 people in this team, Jeff later will create 2 groups so you can put yourself into the team room there. And then group 2 is Erin, Hila cannot make it, Jean cannot make it, Lauren is here, and Michelle is here, Nancy is not.
Actually, Lauren wasn't feeling well. She
Lauren, I know. And Patricia is here, right? And Saha is here.
no,
So
Patricia is not
Patricia's not
actually.
feeling well. Okay.
Yeah, so actually in this room, oh my goodness.
But we
Well, we have
Aaron,
Michelle
we have Aaron, Michelle,
and
and
Sahar.
Saha. Yeah. Although you will see everyone's profile. So I have team 1's profile here, which you have about 10 people. But yours score is mixed here. Okay. So as you can see, I think I can do a little bit assignment. As you can see, like relationship style is pretty similar for this team, right? Sensory style is also pretty similar, very concentrated. But message style and time management style is different. So team 1, maybe you can focus on this particular dimension when you discuss the strategies in leveraging or dealing with the differences. And team 2, I have this profile here. Interestingly, team 2 also, they are similar here and here. And the larger difference is message style and time management style. But team 1 is already focusing on this. So team 2, you guys can focus on this. All right. Okay. So with that,
I have actually, Ping, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I open the breakout rooms, and Zoom just automatically chooses 10 minutes for the amount of time for the breakout. How do
extend it, right?
I don't see where to fix that.
Leanne, do you know, Jeff said only 10 minutes. You can set up the time for a team room.
I don't think after the 10 minutes, they'll automatically close. You'll just get a warning that the 10 minutes is up and we can ignore it.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
possible,
And Jeff,
but
Jeff, I think at the bottom of your screen when you're creating those breakout rooms, there are some different headings that you can click on, and you can increase the time.
okay, so
Not the host, so can't help.
Yeah.
Do you want to make Leanne the host?
Actually,
oh, you
I
need to
need
know.
to
You need to
leave.
go. Oh, you need to
So
go.
sorry.
Yeah. But you create a team room first. Then when it's coming
Yeah, then you
toward the
just
end, and
drag
you add
people
time.
to the rooms.
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna start over. Okay, 2 rooms,
Yes.
options. Here we go.
Okay.
So how long do we want, Xiao-ping?
I said maybe we do, because we have fewer people, we can do like 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So do we have the team room available that people can join?
Yes, I think you should be able to now join. Do you want to put up the slide again and show them which rooms they're?
Do you remember whether you're team 1 or team 2?
I'm in
You
room
do, right?
2.
Yeah. Okay. They already remember. Yeah. So
Okay.
go ahead. Yeah.
And I emailed each of you individually your profiles. So if you don't recall receiving it, go back and look for emails from me.
Jeff, is the room popping up? It's not there.
Yes, room 1 and room 2. I see that Heather is in room 1 and Michelle's in room 2.
Yeah, you can click
Click-
like join breakout room, and
Yeah.
you can pick room 1, room 2. Yeah.
Oh,
Mine's under more.
yeah.
If I click under
Yes.
more.
Yes. Okay, great. I will join room 1.
Okay, I'll join room 2. Well, I'm going to wait till
Okay.
everyone makes it
Yeah.
in.
Okay.
So my room is room 2, is that correct, Jeff?
Let me see.
Let me see my slide.
It was
think-
team 2, I think.
I think you are team 2.
Okay.
Yeah, team 2. Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
And Grazia, I think you're team 1.
Yeah, team 1. Yes, team 1.
I can't see how to reach this team.
I think it's under at the far right. There's 3 dots that say more.
Yeah, you click more.
Yeah.
Then it's a join breakout room. You click that.
I don't know why. I mean, usually it displays, but today I don't know if I'm having a display problem. So just
Mine has a breakout rooms, an icon at the bottom right. At the bottom, it looks like 4 squares.
Yeah,
okay, I can
yes.
see now it's changed. They keep changing things.
I
and-
know.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Eh,
that's why it was confusing.
I
you
think I can
join-
put you. I might be able to put you in. Maybe I can move you. Okay, I can move you.
I don't
myself.
mind. No, but I've seen. Which one did you say? Room 1?
Room 1, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Great.
Oh no. Okay, we'll see you in there.
Do you prefer room 1 or room 2 then?
So you are in. Your profile is already room 1, I believe, and I emailed it to you.
Yeah, I have it. Yeah. So shall I go join room 1 then? Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent. Yeah. Thanks.
sounds good. Okay.
If you click, you have to hover over there to show up the annotate pencil.
Huh, I do not see it. That is really cool, Sahar. I am the farther dot that's next to you, but farther out.
Okay.
I'm in the middle, which makes sense, and I'm the middle child. Always trying to keep the peace.
Is the red one, Erin, is that you, the red one?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and Michelle?
I'm in the middle, so let me see if I can.
This is Michelle's report. So Michelle's the blue dot.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
It's my messy. Wasn't a good in art school either. Okay. So that's what we have, the widest difference when it comes to relationship style. Again, it's my report, so I'm the blue dot. Boy, I'm a centrist, except for sensory style. We have a little bit of difference there.
Yeah, I'm this last one, like that little one. That's me on the relationship style. What about you, Aaron?
The bigger one, Sahar?
This one, the biggest?
No, which one are you?
I'm the red one on the other side.
Right, is that, did you draw on the bigger circle or the smallest circle on the outer edge, towards the outer edge?
Yeah, the red towards the outer edge, that's me.
Okay, because I'm in that middle bubble, it looks like there's probably 2 or more people.
Yeah, so that's probably you and Michelle both are in that space.
I'm right in I wish I could figure out the annotate. That sounds really cool. Let me see if I make my screen bigger. No, I don't see it. Anyway, I am not the farthest out, but the second one in, that's a bigger bubble
Okay,
next to Michelle's.
perfect.
And our time management style is also pretty spread out here.
Yeah,
This is me sort of in the middle.
And I'm
Yeah.
right next to you, right in that big bubble towards,
Okay.
yeah, right there.
I think Michelle, you and I are in the same spot for time management.
Okay.
Okay.
All of us are similar in time management. Okay.
And
And then-
then sensory style.
I'm the same as you, Michelle.
Okay.
So I'm that small one.
So in terms of working as a team, having similar time management styles is a plus. And our sensory styles have a little bit of difference. Let's look here. That again is yeah, your sense of space and sharing a vocal space. Okay.
Yeah, so
You know, I wish they had given us the example of what our project was.
Oh, your assignment.
You know, so for instance, when we're if you're working together on
Yeah.
writing a research paper, that's different from working together, I don't know, to manage a project, let's say.
Yeah, well, so
you-
that makes sense. So let's assume that you are, and we should have put together more of a scenario. So let's assume that you are a team, let's say in an MBA program, just meeting each other for the first time, and you are going to be working together over for the next year or so on lots of different projects. So can you put together a kind of contract for how, or some sort of agreement or template or ways in which you can be most effective over your experience of working together in this team?
Okay. At the level 2, we want to, I think, look at message.
Yeah, let's start at message style, probably. Since it's
Okay.
look at all those little scribbles.
Oh, right, they say on the screen, not on the document.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, one thing I would say, because we have 20 minutes, is that I went ahead and peeked at all. What I did was I scanned all of them, all the level 3s, to see where there was the most difference. And so there's the way that people handle conflict is extremely diverse across your entire team.
Oh, wow.
So and body language, how you guys talk about closeness is polite and those sorts of things. There's a lot of areas where the team is completely, everyone's different. So one way to do it is to kind of scan the whole report and say, oh, let's scan the whole report and see, like, where are the places where we are just not anywhere near each other. And that's one strategy you can have when you have a limited amount of time. Of course, the one you're doing is not wrong. It just takes more time to go through one by one.
Expression is all over the place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have that one marked as well in my notes.
So if you're trying to work on a team together and one member is a bull in a china shop, to use a cliche, and someone else is very gentle in their persuasion, that's not going to go well if you don't recognize it up front.
Yeah, exactly. So I think one of the things that it's probably, slightly reflective of reality is that you don't have all 8 members here. So you're going to want to identify, do we have these people? Are they, do we need to have a meeting later with those? Ideally, you want to have a meeting with everyone, right? But certainly you are absolutely right. That is absolutely something to address. So one things you can do, I guess, today is try to figure out, are any of us those people? Where are
Well, I
we?
can see
We're
that
3
this
of us.
this is me because I have my report on screen.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I'm the bull.
I'm the dot that's to the right. That's me.
That's me that I just circled. And orange.
Okay.
Okay. So there is some difference with the 3 of us. Case in point, I took it upon myself to share screen as soon as I came into the so in our team we could come up with ways of making decisions, decision rules.
But I don't think it's about taking a decision. It's really about persuading someone's decision, right? Like I can make a decision, but you can persuade me in going towards a different direction. Am I understanding it correctly, Jeff?
Yeah.
So the forcefulness of, is it the forcefulness of your persuasion or whether you're vocal about it or not?
I think it's how gently you're doing it. So for example, from a high context culture, I'll try to do it not being direct, but still trying to, move around and try to persuade you, while probably in low context dependence, you'll try to say it more directly. Then I think this is the right way of doing it. Sometimes people say, I'd recommend you do that. And some people would say, oh, I think you should do this. So there's a difference between both approaches. In one way, you're saying that I just recommend you, this is my recommendation and you can do it. And another way, you're just saying that I think this is the way you should go.
Yeah, I look at it because since I'm kind of in the middle, that when I'm in meetings and people are we're trying to make a decision, it kind of triggers me when there's voices that are not heard. And so because they might be silent doesn't mean that's agreement.
Yeah.
So I'm more of the person that will say, I want to make sure everybody's voice is heard in this, and that we're not just deciding based on the loudest voices or the ones that speak the most.
So Jeff, should we come up with an action plan?
Yeah,
Since
so
we've
there's a
identified?
sheet that I sent along as well. When I sent the email, you can put, some notes in there. There's
This piece or?
I think it's both of them.
sorry.
Do we
Is
need to
this
work on
the worksheet you want us to fill out?
Yeah, that's kind of a cheat sheet. Of course, when you're doing this on your own, you can create your own sheet. But this is kind of, yeah. I mean, if you could, this kind of, I guess, fit it in here some way. Or just, make a note of it so that we can, when we go back to the group, we can sort of talk about things.
I don't know if there was any more detail in the report that we wanted to.
Oh yeah, you can keep going for sure. So this one, conflict management, I think is going to be real important for you guys to talk about.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the second to the right dot
And for here,
for avoiding expressing disagreement. To the right. The
The big
second,
one?
the high context.
Oh, the second one.
I'm not the furthest. Keep one more. That's me.
Yeah, these three is, all three is me. All three on the border of high context.
Okay.
okay, so we have, I'm in the middle here. Wow, this is a big difference.
All right.
And that connects with the last point. You know, speaking of conflict avoidance and persuasion.
Yeah.
So how do we come up with some strategies to stop me from taking over? Yeah.
Sahar, what in this type of scenario, what would work for you?
In what way?
If we're at the place of avoiding conflict and avoiding expressing disagreement, and something comes up and we need to address it, what would work better for you? Like if there's a certain, is there a certain something that we could build in to, okay, if we ever get to this place, let's build in these structures for us to talk about it.
Yeah, I think from a conflict management, so I'm just thinking like what I do mostly in the class, or even if we do like big meetings, and it's really about laying down the ground rules. So maybe whenever we are thinking about a decision or there is a matter at hand there where we have different perspectives, so we sit down and we talk about, okay, what matters to you, what matters to Erin, what matters to Michelle. So then those people who are not speaking up, just because they're not used to of speaking up and they are trying to avoid the conflict, maybe that list can talk on their behalf, so then they don't have to talk.
Okay. Actually, I got this
Ways,
wrong.
ways to vote or to you know, make yourself heard that aren't necessarily public.
Yes.
In a larger group, it can work to take a poll.
Yeah, poll or sometimes what happens, especially in the meetings, is that if there's a situation where you have to take a decision and there are different opposing ideas, maybe sending out a survey in advance sometimes helps, so that those people who are not used to of speaking up can still get their point across without coming at, on the face for everyone. Like, I think that's something good. How practical is that? That's a question that we can ask, right? Because people are already so busy and now they have to sit down in this 1 hour meeting and have to complete a survey before that. It's problematic, but I think these are different ways of accommodating people and making sure that people feel like they're included.
Mm-hmm. There's an activity that I use with groups. It works really well in person, or if you're online, you need something like Mural, but it's called Think, Write, Share, Shuffle, or Think, Write, Shuffle, Share. So everybody will take a moment and express their feelings on an index card if you're in person, and then don't put your name on it. Everybody uses the same size index card, same color of ink pen, and then we shuffle it, and then everybody grabs one and just reads it. So that way it levels out any kind of positional power in the room, and then people who don't know who's reading whose. So I often will set up, especially new teams, that way to level out any positional power, to help folks feel a sense of belonging and courage in speaking up.
Love it.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of doing that, especially because the client that I was talking about that I did for my assignment is when you respect hierarchy, you're just not used to of saying anything. And you might have like a great idea or a great point that nobody else is thinking about, but you're just afraid of not speaking in front of the authority.
Absolutely, especially Asian. I'm fourth generation, and I still have deference to authority. As it's just automatic. It's part of my DNA. If somebody is in of higher rank in the room, I don't want to embarrass them. I don't want to have them lose face. That's why I won't say anything.
Yeah.
These exercises have made me reflect on my my American military dad. And a big family, middle child of five, so 7 people at a dinner table. And at the end of the day, he would say, all right, go. And we could each have a minute of what we wanted or decision we needed from him. And if you couldn't jump in and make your point next, he just passed you over. So it helped me in male-dominated business settings for a while, but I have to check myself and realize when I'm doing it. And then a little more similarities here, relationship style, just looking at the time.
Well, to go back, I just want to check with Sahar. Did you want to talk about anything else when it comes to message style?
No, I think this is good, I think. And I'm also looking at the time.
Yeah, I have a message that popped up to close now or keep the rooms open. I think if you need some another few minutes, we can do that.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I cheated a little bit, so I looked at the whole report in advance. You might want to just look at time real fast.
Okay. How do we
oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, time. Scheduling, under scheduling, down one more level.
I don't know how to reach my circles.
Wait, where is it?
Sharing time.
Says
Oh, right.
Oh, here
scheduling
it
at the-
is, sorry.
Yeah, here you go.
Maybe I can. Is this an eraser?
There we go. Thank God.
Maybe 2 more minutes. We need to close.
Okay, should I close now, xiao-ping?
I said 2 more minutes. So
2
they
more
can
minutes, okay.
Get this done. Yeah.
Okay.
Scheduling.
Okay. So in scheduling, I'm these 2 circles. This one, orange, and this one.
Which one are we on? Scheduling and flexible?
Flexible with schedules and flexible with deadlines.
Okay.
So when it says it's like low context dependence, that means that I'm direct in saying that I'm flexible or not, or is it like I'm not much flexible and I can be very direct about it?
Yeah, it's what it is low context is that you adhere to clock time. Less so than event time being more like time is more fluid would be the more high context sense of time.
Gotcha.
Okay, so how would this show up if we're a team, if we look at flexible with deadlines? Because I'm on the edge, I'm that blue. And then Michelle and Sahar, you both are more low context dependent.
So if we're all working on a shared deadline, then we need to make sure that we're explicit. So when people say be on time, and that's sort of a subjective direction. Or if you say, please arrive within 10 minutes of the start time, that's, easy to interpret.
If you're going to be late, let everybody know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I have to close.
Okay.
That was great, you guys. So
Thank you.
did I do this right? Oh, do I need to close the other room too? Hold on. Sorry, I'm not that great at this. Okay, all breakout rooms will close in 30 seconds. So we'll have everybody back in a minute.
Okay.
Well, 30
so-
seconds, 20 seconds.
Okay. So yeah, so if you can just like report back.
Oh, no. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Share with the other, the rest of the group.
Okay, wonderful.
Do we have everyone, Xiao-ping?
I think, yeah, because some people need to leave a bit early. Yeah, I was with group one for some time. I thought they did a great job identifying each person's communication style along, the dimension that they chose, and figure out what will be the strategies to either leverage or deal with the differences. Really good job. And then I also went group two a little bit, and I heard their discussion. I thought also a great job. So I don't know how you guys felt. Do you feel you had enough time to dig deep, to analyze the particular thing? And now you feel better that you can do the same with your students and maybe even supervise them, right, when they encounter issues. Okay, excellent, excellent. All right, so this is great. I like that we give more time on this exercise than earlier training sessions. Okay. So I go back to my slides. Yes. When you do your with your clients, you can also ask them to share their group strategy with other students. So that's what I did with my MBA students class. We didn't have so much time in class to do this in-depth analysis, but I assigned them as a homework. They need to do this after class. And then they come up with actually a document describing in every dimension, like how they are different and how they are similar and the strategies and so on and so forth. Then I designated one class just for this purpose to ask every group to share what they discovered, among themselves and their strategies. And that was extremely helpful. And at the end of the semester, I asked them to sort of tell me which part of the class was like super helpful, like most impressive. So we had, guest speakers and cases, movie analysis, and a lot of interesting projects. And many groups mentioned this one to be like so super helpful. And I also like have their comments, why this was so helpful for them to establish the team and the norm and how they communicate with each other to avoid or minimize the miscommunication among team members. Okay, so you could do that. Here we don't have so much time, so I will just like or any thing that you wanted to mention during your discussion that you thought would be helpful for all us to hear here before I jump into the next one.
So I guess ideally, Xiao-ping, we would allow them to share something from each team, but
Yes.
I don't know, maybe we don't have enough time for that.
This time. Okay. Jeff is in very indirect way to tell me no.
No,
All right.
I'm not saying no. No, I'm just saying,
Yeah, you're not.
I mean, I thought there was something really valuable to share, so I'm just wondering.
Yes. Okay, so we'll just get there. Yeah.
Okay.
But for your clients, you can just do that, designate time for them to share their different strategies. So this is sort of a summary kind of or our conceptualization of the communication style profile and discussion and so on that would help at the individual level to increase their communication effectiveness, their global competence, teamwork effectiveness, agility, and cultural intelligence. So some of the consequences we actually tested in our research. Some of them are still waiting for testing, but most of them, like cultural intelligence, agility, and communication effectiveness, that has been, and teamwork, actually teamwork smoothness, just not a lot of issues that this discussion and analysis is also extremely helpful. Then elevate individual consequences to connecting individual consequences to organizational consequences, then these outcomes will be also increased in terms of team effectiveness, global leadership, or manage diverse communication styles on board and retain top talent, and diversity, of course, diversity and inclusion benchmarks. Okay, and of course we can expand the discussion into, to include more broad social groups, because originally our model was based on cross-cultural differences, like cross-country differences. But of course, we can narrow it because this is the individual level assessment. So we say, hey, if we treat age as a social group, how do we see the patterns of communication style among different age groups, and how do they communicate with each other more effectively? And gender, ethnicity, religion, or even different departments, or even different regions of a country, or new hires versus old timers in an organization, and so on. So this could be applied to many different social groups when we treat culture as not a country level construct. Okay, and team competencies and communication strategy. And after your analysis, I think it's pretty clear, right, in terms of conflict and management, in the message style and collaborative problem solving, in the relationship style, and performance management, planning, task coordination in terms of time management style, and the formal and informal communication and sensory style in terms of verbal, nonverbal cues and tone of voice and all these things. Okay, so at the end, I asked my MBA students team to also do this exercise. This one needs some time and deep level thinking. One is in terms of their personal action plan. So they, as an individual member, compare their own style with the rest of the team, and they identify, where am I similar to the team? Where am I an outlier? When can my style help my team? And when should I consider adjusting my own style, and how? In terms of all these 4 domains of context. Okay, and this exercise is very reflective and extremely helpful for the individual. And then as a team, they need to come up with a team action plan in terms of how to achieve 4 goals, like for teamwork. One is everyone feel that they can express their ideas and opinions. So free expression is one team goal. The second one is intensive listening, because listening is such an important piece in the whole communication process. So they would work on that. And the third goal is constructive criticism. When they do group projects together, how do we realize this goal in terms of these 4 domains? And finally, building trust among team members. And the great teams, they will fill all this out and outline their plan. So I'm always very satisfactory to me to read their plans, and I can see how much effort and time they put into this exercise. And later, the teamwork will basically follow this script, in solving their internal issues and making the project more successful. Okay, so you can borrow these sheets, for your client. So a review, I don't think I need to go through this anymore, because I want to leave some time for Jeff to talk about the resources that we have.
Great. Okay, so we can skip this. We're not really using Dropbox that much anymore.
Okay, all right. That's all.
Yeah. So I will. If you are new to the, I believe there's a number of you who are brand new certified trainers. I'll send you a note to join the LinkedIn group. That's one way that you can see other people who've been certified. We will also, as I mentioned earlier, yeah, this is where I'll also be sharing teaching materials, updated news. What we've just started doing with the Lunch and Learn as well, which is not on here, is we created we now have a YouTube channel. So with the YouTube channel, once you join that, you'll see new videos of the Lunch and Learns or the various research that we'll start to present around topics of communication. You'll be able to, those are actually really good chances to really great chances to network, because we limit those to trainers. And so especially if you go to multiple ones, you'll start to meet, you know, other folks that there. So that's a brand new way to kind of build and get to know each other.
Are you going to talk about this? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's an academic rate, which is also a nonprofit rate, and it's a per person rate. As you can see, the rate goes down as you get up to the number of students. There's an additional fee if you want a small team report. And then there are demographic comparisons, which you didn't really talk much about, but you can give the option for the students to compare themselves with US students or US managers, which is an older group of people with the nationality, people have taken the survey with the nationality USA, and then Chinese managers. And we'll start to build on this as well.
Is it for corporate?
Yeah, this is the corporate rate.
Yeah, okay.
And so I can send those
yes.
out after. One thing I do want to say that's not on the slide is that there's various pricing options. One is that we can invoice you. The other is that the students can pay themselves. A number of universities do that, where they take the survey and then the students pay, you know, the fee, and then they receive the report. And then you know, there's also, you could just pay with a credit card, and also through the bookstore. We've also been working with bookstores.
Yeah, so
I think
for
that's
my
it.
students, for my students, they pay themselves. For some universities, they have like a fund for this, so they just pay the bulk, you know, they have 1,000 students, for example, so they do that. So different ways.
Yes, it's in US dollars. That's one question.
Oh, yes. Okay, any other questions or comments?
One thing I do want to say is that I'm going to reach out after this and ask if anyone wants to have a one-on-one Zoom or phone conversation, just any other kind of questions. One of the things that's important to us is that we're a small company and we're flexible in working with you. So if you have questions about, oh, I have this client, what do you think? Or I'm considering this class, do you have any ideas? All those sorts of things we want to work with you on. So feel free to reach out, and you know, we can chat and figure out the best scenario for you moving forward.
Great, thank you so much, and so nice to see you. And hopefully you will be using this instrument for your clients, okay, and students. Okay, bye. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank
Same
you.
to you.
Bye.
Thank you. Very
Bye, guys.
helpful.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Linda. Yeah,
Bye.
thank you,
Thank you.
Heather.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hannah.
Aaron,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Xiao-ping. Great job. Wait, I have to end the
Okay.
recording. Hold on. Maybe I'll just
Mm.
hold on.
Yeah.
How do I do this?